What's going on, drinking buddies? Brand new podcast coming right at you. But real quick, you know what we got to do. First and foremost, don't overthrow the government. That's first. Secondly, we have some ads coming up. This week's episode is brought to you by... oh my God! It is brought to you by the video versions of this podcast. That's right. Experience the madness in full HD, ad-free on Vimeo for 99 cents an episode or $6.99 a month. Get you unlimited streaming, all 89 video episodes that are up currently, adding new ones all the time. Occasionally there's nudity, there's profanity, there's silly looks, there's contemplative looks. There's all sorts of shit that happens in the video version. So check those out today. We are also brought to you by the Twitch stream. That's right. I am Twitch streaming every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. Pop in, join the community, come join the hangouts. We have a Discord, we have a merch store, we have all these things. Come to our warm embrace on the Twitch stream. Oh, we have a separate YouTube channel for the Twitch stream. Just come, join us. Join us. Okay, the ads are getting weird today. And last but not least, we were brought to you by our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is the Record of the Month Club. The best damn Record of the Month Club. In fact, Vinyl Me Please sends one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection every month. And it comes packaged with things like bonus tracks, color variants. It also comes with an album-inspired art print and custom cocktail pairing recipe. Music, check. Art, check. Booze, check. What else do you need in this world? And Vinyl Me Please isn't like Record of the Month clubs of old. It's month to month, no strings attached. Cancel anytime. We all need more music in our lives. So sign up for Vinyl Me Please today at www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Once again, that's www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. My guest this week, you may know her from the viral videos of her eating pizza on stage at Jumbo's while motherfuckers made it rain on her. Returning to the show is Lilly Moon. It's been almost 3 years since Lilly's been on, which is a goddamn shame. Lilly and I talk about the perils of dating in LA, the time that she met Sting in the club. We touch back on pig cannibalism and a whole lot more. And I will apologize for the very LA-centric stuff right around the 2-hour mark. These things happen in a natural conversation sometimes. Besides that, this is a real fun episode. So sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy, drinking buddies. Lilly, what the fuck's going on?
Hey.
Feels like
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that well, you're in your own home. I hope you're happy to be there.
This is so hard to make this appointment.
I know. You believe it or not, it's actually been harder to fucking book this since the pandemic's been on than from before.
What are people doing?
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
All I'm doing is playing golf or going to pick up food. There's nothing else to do. Nothing else you could do.
Right. I'm at home editing or doing this all day. So when I'm like, hey, do you want to do the show? They're like, yeah, when's good? I'm like, literally, when's good for you? I will make it fucking happen.
Anytime.
Right. Please don't make it too early so I don't have to roll out of bed and do this. But I will.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, afternoon. Give me enough time to wake up and put makeup on, and then I'm good.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I needed to do too. I mean I just had to touch up the face a little.
Yeah, just get it freshen up.
Yeah. As before we got on there, I'm like, oh my God, my beard's everywhere because I haven't even brushed my beard this morning. I'm like, trying to fucking.
Oh God.
Oh God, the beard is
spit
getting wild.
He's getting wild.
A little. I mean, it's not down here anymore, but that's been a while since it was that long.
Yeah.
So besides golfing and hanging out in your apartment getting food, what all the fuck you been doing?
I mean, like, when we do the first podcast, I didn't have an OnlyFans. I have an OnlyFans now. So, obviously I can't work at Jumbo's. So, like, between OnlyFans and then, like, I started making masks for the pandemic. So,
I rock your mask
my
all the
Etsy
time.
shop in general. Oh, yeah. I forgot you got one. And then, like, paint. I've been trying to, like, paint more. I hate everything when I paint. Like, seriously. My friend actually said to me this morning, she, like, responded to my story because I posted a painting that I did, like, over a year ago. And I was like, I fucking hate this. I'm pretty sure. I think I hate it. And I think I'm going to do something else to it. She responded and she's like, you're not a real artist unless you hate your work. And I was like, that is the only thing that makes me feel like a real artist, is that I hate a lot of my work.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% accurate.
I'm like, this is trash. Nobody would buy this. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I feel like you're some crazy narcissist if you like you see what you did and you're like, that was amazing right off the bat.
This is a work of art. Yeah. I will sell it for $1 million.
Yeah, like I feel like you have to be, Kanye West levels of narcissism to just be like, that's a hit. That's amazing.
Yeah. I fucking nail it every time.
But that also could be why Kanye is very, very well to do and we are not, because he has that level of self-confidence. That goes on beyond self-confidence.
Yeah, no, it's like psychotic.
I've said this multiple times on the air, but like I honestly don't know if I'm egotistical enough to make it an entertainment, because every like fairly famous celebrity's home I've been in has a shrine to themselves somewhere in their house, usually in their bathroom. Hey, look at you making it.
Like I couldn't help myself.
See?
It fits well there or something.
See?
Look, I didn't pay to have that made. The photographer had it made, one for him and one for me. And I was like, I have it.
For sure. I'm not knocking it. I'm congratulating you on your success, obviously, because you're obviously able to make it in this fucking business.
But then, like, they came to fix, like, the heat a couple weeks ago, and they walk in, and I'm like, welcome to my home. Like, every time a stranger comes in for something, I'm like, and I usually look, like, so homely when someone's coming in.
I doubt that.
Like, no makeup, like, broken out, bun on the head, sweatpants, and they're like, is that you? I'm like, yes, it is.
Well, at least it's only like one photo at this point. You don't have the whole wall going. Not yet.
It's true. Not yet.
Yeah, because I've definitely been in like musicians' homes where like their gold records are up and like their like Tonight Show appearance, photo of the Tonight Show appearance, shit like that.
I don't want to say his name, but yeah, I was at a very famous guitar player's house, and the second I walked in, there was an entire, like, you walk in and there's the hallway, and the whole wall was like all these like platinum records and gold records he's been a part of, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because you posted you're at his house in the story. Yep.
Yeah.
I have some off-air comments about all that, but anywho.
Oh no, different person.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh. See, it's a common fucking trait. You're proving my point.
Yeah. It is. I feel like if I get more popular, I'll probably start doing the same shit. I'll be like, oh, I did this, so proud of myself.
I mean, not to, toot your horn, but you do have like 3 appearances on like 2 on MTV and 1 on a Bob Saget show that has happened this year.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And nobody even tells me. Like, they don't tell me. Like, I've ran to people like I heard about the most recent one on MTV and when I heard the show was coming out, I was like, okay, like my video should be on this one more than anything, because it's literally a food related ridiculousness, like essentially. but I didn't hear anything when I was like, whatever. And then my parents' friends, who we know originally from church, like called me and they're like, "Hey, Lil, we're watching you on MTV." I was like, "Oh, on Ridiculousness?" And they were like, "No, Deliciousness." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Can you record it and send it to me? Because I didn't know." They're like, "Sure." And they sent me a little recording of it. I was like, "Oh, okay." So I contacted the licensing company. I'm like, "Yo, where's my money?" And they're like, "It's gonna take a minute." I'm like, "Okay."
As long as you know that you got to pay.
Yeah, Hiller. Waiting for my check.
Right. Gotta make that money.
Always waiting for that check.
Now the question is, what do you do to top that?
I don't know. You know, I did like the giant Sicilian pizza thing, and that, like, I mean, that got a lot of attention, but it didn't, like, it's hard to, like, because I was like, okay, that'll be funny, like that'll do well, and then it pissed people off more than anything, which like made me really happy. But it's funny because I came out, I put a video out of me like rolling around in this massive pizza, and it didn't get much attention at all. And then I posted a picture of me just sitting on this pizza, and everyone was fucking pissed. And everyone was just like, "You wasted this pizza. There are starving people. Like, there are homeless people. Like, what?" I was like, if you're so worried about homeless people, like, go feed them. How often are you feeding homeless people?
Right.
Fucking never. Like, shut the fuck up.
And
also, we ate the pizza.
Well, and on top of it, homeless people in LA don't eat gluten.
True. Also, somebody had the balls to be like, "I hope that you donated that pizza to homeless people afterwards." And I was like, the pizza that I rubbed my ass all over? Like, that's rude as fuck. I would never do that to a homeless person. Like, no. Me and my friend who filmed it for me, like, me and her were fucking eating the pizza afterwards because, like, she don't give a fuck. Like,
I think you should have Ziploc bagged individual slices and sold them.
I should have. You know, the thing is like, by the time people were bringing that up, it was like the pizza wasn't good anymore. Like, I brought so much Tupperware, and I brought us so much of it home, and just was like slowly eating pizza. But then, like, obviously I couldn't finish all of it, and so I did throw some away. Sue me.
Well, you know,
yeah, like, where are the slices? And I'm like, dude, this was like 2 weeks ago. Like, it's not. I should have froze a bunch of it, right. But, you know.
Should have froze it, just sold it like you're selling used panties, just kept it in the freezer until someone ordered it.
Yeah, it's ready to go.
You know,
freshly
like,
sat on.
2 years, I think it was like 2 years ago at this point, me and a bunch of people tried to do the Big Mama and Papa's challenge. Like, tried to kill it.
How'd that go?
Not well. I mean, we almost did it, but not. Holy fuck. I've never eaten so much in my goddamn life. Because it's that whole fucking pizza you ordered with 4 toppings, killed by 8 people in 2 hours.
The toppings are like so much extra too.
Well, so when you do the challenge, the 4 toppings are included.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you can pull it off, you win $1,200 and the pizza's free.
I wish I wasn't so. Well, I like my body. I just wish I could eat more. Because I'd love to, like, go in on that challenge, but I know I'd eat like 2 slices and be like, "Oh, so full." Sucks.
It was me, some other adult talent, and a couple professional eaters, and we got close, but we didn't. We also fucked up on the toppings. One of the toppings, because they do, each quarter of it in a different topping. We did bacon on one of them, which just ended up being way too salty.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the professional eaters, we found out after the fact, like, doesn't eat pork. It's like, but why would you? You should have definitely said something.
Like, let's all start on this corner and you start on that corner over there.
But I love bacon, and it was just, by the end of it, like, too fucking salty. It was brutal.
I bet.
Like, a couple people, because you obviously can't puke during the competition, but, like, the minute the competition over, went and puked in the bathroom.
I wonder how many people, like, puke at that place.
well, I don't think people like, do the challenge that often, but I'm sure every time someone does, it happens. I'm like, I'm super full. I know I'm gonna order a Sprite and like help burp, and that'll help. And like, I made it worse. I puked when I got home.
You're like, no more in my stomach.
Yeah, no, like the Sprite made it just fucking worse. It was like adding a Mentos to a diet fucking Coke.
Oh my God. I don't know why that reminds me. My first boyfriend ever, like, I don't know, like 17, 18 years. No, 16, 15, 16 years old. I was out of high school by 17. Different story. But he decided, like, RC Cola, okay, decided to be like, I'm going to chug an entire 2-liter of RC Cola. And that was like him projectile vomiting afterwards was like a Mentos mixed with a Coke. Like, it was it was wild. I remember taking a picture of him puking. I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, back before everything was stored forever on our phones.
I know. Bummer. Now I save everything.
Bummer and not a bummer. Could you imagine actually like coming up in an age where like people had smartphones to capture
a photo?
Yeah, like just able to capture every stupid thing you did as a teenager.
God. There's like my dad was like talking recently about, he's like, well, like things are cool, at the time, and then they're not cool later or whatever. So like, he's like, you used to shave off your eyebrows and draw them on in high school. And like, that was cool at the time. And I was like, that wasn't cool at the time. It was never cool. It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool then. It's not cool now. There's like, I have a picture somewhere of it. I didn't know how to draw my eyebrows on. I didn't like learn how to do that first and then be like, oh, I'll shave these up. He's just like a line and then like, oh, good God.
But that was the look at the time.
It was nobody's look but mine. Nobody else was doing that. I was so hardcore made fun of in high school. Because I dressed like I do now, but worse. But also better, but worse.
See, that's the nice part about it.
I just realized I've like not changed at all.
Oh, I'm sure you've changed a little bit. I'm sure you have evolved a bit.
Well, yeah, just like slightly. But I still want to be a Spice Girl, and I still tell everyone to go fuck themselves.
Those are still valid qualities, so that's fine.
Thank you. I agree.
Speaking of like trends and like doing facial things and makeup a certain way, that's why like I'm always like, no shade to any of my friends who do this professionally, but the people who get permanent makeup done, it's always like, are you sure that you want this style of brow forever?
Yeah. Or like even like laser hair removal. Like girls are like, I got all my pussy hair removed, and I'm like, all of it? Like, but what if you want it back? Like, I don't know. Bushes are back.
They are. Not for me, but
not for you. Like, I got laser hair removal like on my bikini line because I'm like, I don't give a shit what the style is. I don't ever want hair like popping out of my fucking underwear or bikini or whatever. But then the rest, I was like, I'll style in whatever style I feel like. I don't know. The other day, well, like 2 weeks ago or something, I did a lingerie shoot for this girl's company, and I was like, I gotta shave because I don't know what kind of lingerie I'm gonna be wearing. And it was like really weird because I've had a bush for so long. And then afterwards I was like, okay, like now, I don't know, should I like wax it and then just like leave it bald for like a second? Or should I grow it back in? I don't know. Ooh, the decisions I can make right now. It's like wild.
I don't know. Growing pubic hair back out is just so itchy. So itchy when it grows back.
Yeah, I haven't had that. I don't have that issue.
Well, you're lucky.
I will say though, like I shaved it and then I shaved it again like 2 days later, and I fucked up. And I was like, I had so many razor bumps, and I was like, I've made a mistake. Like, why did I do this? I was miserable for like a day.
Oh, that's the worst. And to be fair, I have not peeked your OnlyFans content, so I don't know how naked you are getting on there, because that could be like a drawback to your fucking work potentially.
I'm not getting naked on there. So, join my OnlyFans, everyone.
So, well, at least you don't have to worry about like losing money out because you're like, oh, I have razor burn. I can't have people think I have herpes or some shit.
Yeah, everyone's like, what are those bumps? I'm like, I swear, I just shaved wrong. It's been a while.
Right? We're in quarantine. I don't have to do this all the time.
I know. I'm like, like growing out my arm hair again.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like fucking.
Mine almost looks as long as yours. It's wild. No, mine's so short right now. I like took a bath last night. And I was like, why? I go through like phases though. I'll let it grow out a little bit, and then like I'll end up doing a photo shoot or something. And I'm like, okay, get rid of it, and then like wait a few weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. Not on the photo shoot part, but just occasionally just look down like, oh man, I just gotta get rid of this. Like,
yeah, maybe I should just do like a little something.
Yeah, just give it a little trim.
Yeah.
And then always just when it's that long and then you cut it, it's like, oh, now I gotta, sweep my bathroom floor. Otherwise it looks like a barber shop in here. And
like go over the toilet or like.
What, like this? Like fucking, what, Captain Morgan on the barrel over the toilet? Like, teach me your technique, if that's your plan. Like,
you're like, I got it, it's fine.
Right, like, there's a little, here, and then, like, I gotta, move the bits, and, like,
Yeah, I guess same with girls, though. It's like, you gotta, like, maneuver through folds and shit.
I can't imagine trying to do it as a woman, like, because it's just like, you have very sensitive parts that, are a little more flappy than, my testicles.
A little more flappy.
Just a little more flappy. Yeah. And I like to, refer to my pubic region as, like, I have a party mullet down there, because it's, it's short in the front, but it's still long in the back, because
just party in the back.
Yeah. I'm still a fairly hairy dude, and I'm not, like...
You're like, I'm not trying to, like, get all up in there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get all up in my asshole to try to, like, have a, baby bottom over here.
Oh, my God. That's hysterical.
So, ladies, the line forms to the left.
Dick mullets.
And just be aware that, if you go to toss the salad, that you may get some hair. Just letting you know. Believe in full disclosure about
just
these
FYI.
things. Yeah.
Full disclosure.
Don't want you to be surprised about it. Be like...
I mean, it's important.
Yeah. Last thing you want is, like...
By the way, it's a forest in there. Good luck.
Right. It's a forest. It's a well-cleaned forest, but it's still a forest. And...
okay. Tossing salad. Do you toss salad?
I'll eat that ass. I feel like, as a modern man, you have to. It's like a social contract with the world at this point.
Right? It's like, it's such a thing, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't get it. I don't get it. No,
I don't think I've ever actually, like, had my asshole eaten, and I'm not really sure I really want to.
It doesn't do anything for me. If anything, I sit there and I'm like, God, I hope I don't get gassy right now. Like, I really would not I don't want to fart in this person's face. Like, but it does nothing for me, like, pleasure-wise. So I'm just like, my mind just wanders, and I'm really ultimately, I'm just like, I hope I don't fart in their face. But, like, how long is this going to go? I had an ex though that really liked doing it though. And so I'm like, well, who am I to, like, at this point, this is for you, and I want to do it for you. So, like, you enjoy it. So, like, let's do it. But why? And honestly, I don't want to fucking do it to anyone either.
I mean, I'm certainly not demanding it. I'm actually, probably, if someone's tongue went down there, I would, like, fucking clench up. Like, every time, Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a man being penetrated, but I have a history of like some bowel
No,
issues.
not at all. Absolutely not.
I have some history of some bowel issues, so anytime a finger has gone anywhere near my asshole, I've like clenched. Just like, whoa.
And I think that's just a normal thing for a guy to do too. One of my favorite things. This is kind of mean. This is, and now it is mean. Pretty much every guy I've ever dated at this point, I just get off so much on like when they're not expecting it, like they're just brushing their teeth, and I come up and just like shove my fucking hand in their asshole. I mean, not in it, but like, you know, they have pants on, but I'm like, hey, and they're like, ugh, and I'm like, that's the reaction I wanted, and then I like walk away.
See, that's funny. That's funny.
And honestly, sexually, I've only ever put my finger in a dude's butthole one time ever. And like, that was in like that was my last boyfriend. I was like a very committed relationship. And I was like, you know what? I really like you. So if you wanted to do it, I would do it. But normally I don't have any interest in that. I'm not trying to touch everyone's butthole. I'll touch my butthole. I'm not trying to touch everyone else's butthole.
Right. All right. I mean, if the partner is super into it, sure. But it's
yeah.
I'm not. It's not.
And
like
I would like my partner to touch my butthole, just not with their mouth.
Just give it a little tickle.
Yeah, just you know, I don't know, whatever.
Full on shocker, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Yeah. I'm into that.
As long as their nails
or like anal is great, but like gotta be in the mood for it.
Well, yeah. Anal is definitely not one of those
like,
things
totally
you want to just like go for.
No,
you got to ease it in. There's got to be lubrication.
Oh, it's a process.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. Like, I've only ever had one partner who was just like ramming in, and she was also like the most submissive woman I've ever been with.
I would die. Because like I've had, I think 2 times ever where like had a boyfriend like fucking me from behind, and just it's like in the dark, and all of a sudden just like went to like aggressively go, but wrong hole. And I was like, I couldn't speak. It was just like, I couldn't even breathe for a second. It was so much pain. Like, just ram it in. Are you out of your mind?
I mean,
ooh,
this is a partner who's like wanted me to like 2-hand choke her to near unconsciousness at points, and like, hit her pretty hard. Like, she was just, she was into being a very heavy bottom, and I was just like, are you into this? She's like, yeah, fucking keep doing it. I'm like, okay. Like, I almost was feeling a little kind of weird about it. Like, okay, as long as you're into this, and like, because especially when it's a fairly new relationship and you're with someone who, new, and it's like, they're doing things, and I'm like, I'm trying to make sure, like, you're not just doing this because you like me and you think this is what I want.
Yeah. And then later you're going to feel like really uncomfortable about it, and then it's going to be like a weird thing. It's like, you got to be careful about that stuff in the beginning. Like, I've started like seeing dudes before, and then they just like grab my throat, and I'm like, whoa, like, no, there's just no communication on it, or like reason that they should just think that that's just okay to do that, like, early on. And I'm like my first boyfriend actually did like, throw me back, beat by the throat. So like, don't get me wrong, I like it. Not that I didn't like that, but like, I like it. Like, now, like, I've learned to like it, but if there's no, like, if I don't trust you sexually, or if I don't know you that well, like, don't just assume you can do that.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
It's weird because I absolutely love doing that, but then like if someone just like does it, and I'm like, whoa, who the fuck do you think you are? And then I'm like immediately turned off by that person, because I'm like, there's no respect there. It's just like, you just did it because you.
I will say, in the heat of the moment, I have definitely put my hand on a new partner's neck, but like no pressure, just like there. And if like uncomfortable or they move my hand, and
like
it's
a very light thing. And then it's like, if they don't want you to, they'll show that. But like, don't just go in for the kill.
No.
Aggressively.
No. If anything, I'm looking for someone to be like, choke me harder than, being like, stop. Like,
yeah. You're like, this is it?
Like, it's like,
okay, a light touch.
Yeah, light touch. Okay, you're cool with it. Like, it's going to stay a light touch until, we feel each other out, or you're like, choke me harder, bitch. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm a bitch
like if
now,
they take your hand and they're like, no more. And you're like, oh.
Exactly. Like, also,
when guys just like go to choke you, except they're actually choking you and not doing it the way they're supposed to do it, and you're like, are you trying to murder me right now? Are you like, or you just saw this in a porn and you have no idea what you're doing, so you think.
Do not crush women's windpipes, dudes. Don't do it.
Sides, not front.
Yeah, don't grab someone's trachea and like squeeze. Like, you can do permanent damage that way. If she starts
actually coughing, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, like, you're supposed to cut off blood flow so they get lightheaded, not.
Yeah. It's like a euphoria thing, not a murder thing.
Right. Well, for some people, that could be euphoria. I mean, I'm not king shaming.
Well, this is true. If they specifically say they are into that, by all means, choke them out. I don't know. Everyone's got their kinks.
Exactly. And that's half the fun of, new partners in sexuality is like trying to figure out what, like, yes, we can get, tab A into slot B, but what other stuff are we doing in the process there?
Yeah. That's like, I love, like, I'll probably, if I'm like seeing like a new person after maybe like 2 to 3 times of having sex, I'm like, all right, so what are you into? Like, I'm like, now I know that I'm into this enough that we're going to keep doing this. So like, let's learn. What do you like? Let me tell you what I like. Okay, cool. Let's start doing more shit.
Right. So how fast do you decide it's off when it's off?
I mean, like, I don't know, 99% of the time just talking to a dude for 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Never mind. Never fucking mind. Because there's just, like, the lack of maturity and the lack of, like, decency. Like, especially, like, we talked about this when I was, like, kind of skimming through our last one. Like, I've basically veered away from what society deems as normal in every aspect of my fucking life. So guys all the time look at me as like a novelty. So like, oh, colorful hair and tattoos, I bet she's fun in bed. Or like, oh, she's a dancer, I bet she's fun in bed. Or whatever. And then it becomes yeah, but like, regardless of how I look, like, maybe I'm just fun in bed because I'm a fun in like bed kind of gal, okay? But like, but it becomes this novelty, and then guys don't look at me as like a potential real relationship. I become like this, novelty. It becomes this like, oh, I would try that out and see how it is, and that's it. And so, but like, you can kind of usually tell that pretty quickly talking to someone, because the second a guy finds out, well, maybe I shouldn't have my fucking sound on. The second a guy finds out that I'm a dancer, or that I'm big on social media and that my ass is all over the place, like, a lot of times their tone changes immediately. And I don't think they realize that, but I notice it. And so like, it'll be like, oh, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, what do you do? Or what's your Instagram or whatever. And the second I give it to them, like, there's like a weird comment, or just the way they start talking to me is different. And I'm like, okay, like, remember when you thought I was just a normal person 5 minutes ago? Because I still am. So can we not go there? And then so it's like, okay, never mind. Or they find out what I do and they just are like, bye, like, I'm out. I'm like, okay, fine. Which I don't blame anyone for. It's a shame, but like, everyone has different boundaries. I mean, I I met someone on Tinder. Oh, I never ended up meeting him, but I talked to him for like a hot minute. And we seemed to like really hit it off. And then he was like, I'm an actor. And I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. It's not going to work. And he was like, why? And I was like, I know myself. And right off the bat, like if you are like doing like sex scenes or like making out with girls, like for your scene, I know I won't be okay with it. I know I wouldn't. I just know I wouldn't. It would bother the shit out of me. And I know it's not real and it's simple and I get that, but I know it would bother me. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation to deal with it.
Yeah.
And he argued with me and it was a very like adult argument. It wasn't like whatever. We were like bantering back and forth. And I was like, I respect his, I don't know. I respected the way he was going about it, but he was like really trying to like tell me why it's okay. And I was like, it's okay for you. Like, that's your boundary. And that's not my boundary. And that's okay. Everyone's boundaries are different. That doesn't make what you do wrong. That's just something I couldn't deal with. I was like, same thing with like dating someone in porn. And he was like, well, I couldn't date someone in porn. And I was like, wow, you just proved my point. Why wouldn't you date someone in porn? And he's like, well, because they're having sex. And I was like, okay. Literally the same concept, like literally the same concept. And he's like, well, no, because I'm not having sex with anyone. And I was like, yes, but it's still intimacy. Like you like making out with someone, that's like an intimate act. And he's like, well, it's not intimate. And I was like, okay, it's not intimate to you.
Right. Most porn scenes aren't intimate to the people that are performing them.
Yeah, not at all. It is not cute when people are constant, like there's like 17 people standing there and they're all talking and telling you what to do. Like that's not hot.
No, or you have to get into
like,
some uncomfortable position and
you're
open over for the
proving
camera.
My point.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is like,
we have to make this look good on camera. So do this.
Right. And as you're saying this, like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, why would you want to even try to spend time with someone that you have to hard sell on wanting to spend time with you?
Yeah. And that's something I've had to learn for myself recently. So it was funny, like, talking to him and just being like, dude, like, you don't even know me. Why are you trying so hard to like make this work? When, let's be honest, if you want to like just, basic percentages, we're probably not going to end up together anyway. But like, I don't know, just like, you'll meet someone who's down with you being an actor. Maybe they'll be an actress. I don't know. Like,
right. Well,
it's not.
Even if it's two fucking civilians, if you have to hard sell someone on like getting involved, it's just a problem day one. Like, I shouldn't have to like, no, you're wrong.
Convince you to want to try to
get involved. Like,
yeah, I'm worth dating. I swear.
I swear to you. Like, give me a shot. Like,
and that's a huge thing I've had to learn, especially with how I look, like what I do for a living, whatever. It's like, you're not going to convince someone to be like, oh, well, you're a dancer, I'm cool with that, if they're just not cool with it. And that's fine. Don't be cool with it. Like, whether it's because you're ignorant on what a dancer really does or what that means, or if you know all about it and are just not into it, fine. That's your fucking boundary. I can't do anything about that.
100%.
So usually it's just like that type of shit. But
on top of it, like, it's better that a dude recognizes his boundary and decides not to go over it than being like, oh, Lily's super cool. I know I'm not cool with this. I'm going to, but I'm going to do it anyways because she's super cool. And then being like, oh, nope, that really was a hard boundary for me. Hey, I'm sorry you're attached to me and everything, but yeah.
Yeah. Or like 5 months in, 6 months in, you guys are like, oh, like, we like love each other. Let's be like in a real relationship. By the way, I don't like what you do. Can you change it? My last boyfriend low-key did that to me for like a second, where like we started getting actually invested. Like, you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend, whatever. And then all of a sudden he was like, yeah, can't you do something else? And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, can't you do something else? And I was like, can you do something else? And he was like, no, this is my career. And I was like, oh, okay, because this is my career.
Yeah.
And I asked you right in the beginning, and you were like, oh, I go to jail most of the times. It's cool. So, like, one, you don't get to be a patron of my fucking job and then shit on me for doing it. Like, that's even worse. Like, it's one thing if you're like, oh, I don't really attend places like that, and I don't love that you do it. But you were like, oh, I go there sometimes. It's a fun place. I'm totally cool with you doing it. And then being like, well, I don't like that you do it. I was like, oh my God, I got like so stern so quick. And I was like, I'm not doing this with you. We already have talked about this for literally, I don't know, 5 months, however long we've been dating. I'm not going to play this game with you. If you don't like it, there's the fucking door. This is my job and I love my job. I'm not stopping doing my job for you unless you're trying to pay all my fucking bills. Are you going to pay all my fucking bills? You're not? Okay. I'm going to go to work. You're going to shut the fuck up. And he very quickly was like, you're right. I'm sorry. And then it never came up again. He came to visit me, brought his friends in. It was great.
But even if he was going to pay all your bills, you really don't fucking want that because then there's a weird power dynamic.
No. Yeah, no. I wanted to still work there. And I still want to work there. I'm going to work there.
I mean, after this interview, she's actually going to go break in and dance anyways. Just kick in the door. Yeah. Put on the jukebox, do a couple songs. Like, underground jumbos.
I need it. Yeah. But then back to your question, then, so like, that's that. But then as far as sex, like, I don't know, after, like, if I have sex with someone one time and it's like god awful, I'm like, no, like, I don't.
Any particular stories you can think of?
If it's like after my last long-term relationship, the one that I talked about on our last podcast, I was like really sad about the breakup and stuff. And like, I don't know, sometimes my way of like getting over things is just like quickly finding someone else to bang.
Like most humans.
I like, yeah. So I very quickly went and like found someone that he was really cute. He was really nice, very nice. And we went out and we had a really good time. And then we like kissed and it was so bad. It was so bad. And that's like, it's not hard, it's not hard to, I don't know. So like, it was like lizard tongue. And I was like, ugh. And
so
I was like,
was
okay.
it like the fast darting, but trying to hit the back of your throat?
Yeah. Like, it was just like, I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest. It was so bad. I'm like, you're a grown ass man. You know what I mean? Like, I think back on it now and I'm like, okay, going through my 20s, like, we're all slowly learning here and there and stuff. It's like in your 30s, if you don't know how to kiss a girl, like, it's not like sex where every girl's like so different and that you have to like figure out what works for her. Like, it's just kissing.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, that like, I can explain what I want in that department. Like that can be worked out. Like that's not whatever. And then like, I don't sound like a dick. We went back to his place and he lived in a studio apartment. And I was like, you're grown up. Like, why do you live in a studio? And then like when your couch is right next to your bed, like 2 feet away from it, it feels weird. And then it was just like everything.
Oh my God. So there's a little bit to unpack here. So first and foremost, I feel like the bad kissing thing is unfortunately like this result of the societal like norm of women not being able to like feeling uncomfortable about sticking up about dudes' behavior. He probably like thinks he's a great kisser because there's been so many women in his life who just for whatever reason haven't told him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I ended up kind of telling him, well, I kind of ended up telling him just that he was not good in general. And I felt really bad about it. But so we hooked up and literally everything he did, I was just like, why is every single thing you do terrible? Like, I was like, okay, he's a bad kisser, but it can't all be bad. Like usually a guy is not good at everything. Usually there's something he's at least slightly lacking in, you know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, but like everything's amazing. And that's like, okay, but like everything's amazing. So it's like, cool. No, every single thing was so bad. So bad. And I was just like, all right, let's just have sex. Like whatever. And then I felt like I was being literally stabbed. And I was like, why is it so bad? And so then we like stopped and we were like laying there and I was like, I have to get out of here. And it's like 3 a.m. and it's like weird now. Cause like, how do I leave? Right? Like I need to come up with a reason why I need to leave. Cause I cannot spend another fucking minute here. I can't do it for my own sanity.
That's another thing that should be fucking normalized, is being like, hey, we're finished. I'm going to go. Like, that should be fucking normalized.
Yeah. I don't feel like being here anymore. Straight up. Which I think that it's like between my breakup, which was slightly traumatic in a series of events, and then like that, and then I ended up having another, like literally I waited for a little while and was just like, I don't want to meet anyone, which was really weird for me. And I was like, I have no interest in dating at all. I don't want to do this. And then I met this guy at a bar. He was the bartender and I brought him home and he tried to stealth rape me. Like tried to like take the condom off without me knowing.
Oof.
And that. And so, and I just snapped and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, well, I thought you knew. And I was like, don't bullshit me. I blatantly told you that you need to have a condom on like earlier. So like you knew, get the fuck out of my apartment. And he was like, what? And I was like, get the fuck out of my apartment. We are done here. And he was like, I'm really sorry. And I was like, get out of my apartment. So I think the series of events has like kind of made me snap. And now I'm like, I don't like this. And I'll just say how I feel all the time in any situation. And so like after that, I ended up going on a date where the guy was just pissing me off all night. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm not enjoying this. So I'm done here. I'm going to go. And it was just like such a defining moment in my life to just be like, you know what? You don't need to sit in this date all night that you're not having fun at. You can just leave. You're a grown up. You never have to see this person again. Like, just tell them. Don't matter. It was real bad. I left.
I've never been on a date bad enough where I just up and bounced on it. But I definitely had some dates where like halfway through it, I'm like, this is going nowhere. So like, eventually when it wrapped, it's just like, nice meeting you.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. But I also think like,
yeah,
for a dude to bounce on a date, like the person you're on a date with has to just be objectively horrible for you to just be like, I'm out.
I had a guy kick me in the stomach on accident. That was like literally in the same like time frame. I was like, you know what? I can't anymore. I don't want to date. This is it's so
how
he was like, I'm going to show you jujitsu or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then he like, I think he accidentally did it, but he like kicked me in the stomach. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? And then he laughed about it. And I was like, it wasn't funny. Like, you hurt me. And he was like, oh. And I was like, I'm going to go. And he was like, wait, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go.
That's a weird flex. Like, hey, we're on a first date. I'm going to show you martial arts to assert my dominance over you. Weird flex, bro. Weird.
I had another guy who we went on a picnic. It was one of the few dates I've had during quarantine. We went on a picnic to, social distance. And he was like he brought his dog and he had like a dog ball and he like literally threw it at my face. And I was like, can you not do that actually? And he was like, I'm really sorry, and then the rest of everything was cool. So I was like, okay, maybe he just like didn't mean to hit me in the face and he like hit me in the face, like I'll let that one thing slide. And then
did he hit you in the face hard? Like
no, it wasn't hard. He just like tossed it at me, but I was just like, hit me in the face. Like, how about don't? So then he was like doing something out by my apartment. And he was like, let me stop by and say hi. And I was like, okay. And he stopped by. And then like, literally at one point, like, I went to show my shoes. And so we like went in my room and I was like, so this is like a whole shelf full, like bookshelf of them. And so we're like sitting on my bed and he like laid back and he like swung over and kicked me. And I was like, ow, what the fuck? And he was like, oh, and he like laughed. And I was like, and he did it again. And I was like, dude, no, that hurts. And he goes, it didn't hurt. And I was like, no, it did, actually. That's why I said that it did, because it did. And he was like, no, I don't think it hurt you, though. And I was like, I'm telling you that it did hurt. And he was like, I mean, maybe emotionally. And I was like, what? And he's like, it didn't hit you. It didn't hurt you physically. And I was like, okay.
Like,
I don't.
I'm like, I can wrap my brain around, like, trying to do, like, the schoolyard, pull the hair of the girl I like, kicking you, like, if you thought it was playful.
Like, what on earth?
But I couldn't wrap my brain around and being like, the response to that when you're like, I don't think this is funny, you're like, oh, I must have hurt you emotionally. Like, that's, what?
Right? Like, literally, how hard is it to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I hate her. Like, you're like he was like 6'4" or something. I was like, you're a big dude. I'm a tiny person. Like, maybe you don't realize how hard you kicked me, but you kicked me harder than you think. And it did hurt. Like, it hurt.
Yeah.
And he was like, it didn't hurt you. And like, he just kept arguing his point to me. And I was like, okay, you can leave now. I can only imagine getting into an actual argument with you. Like, you can't even take responsibility for like a tiny thing. I can't. This has been my dating life like the last year. I can't.
As we come on this podcast to prove once again that dating in LA is hell.
Oh my God. It is. It really is.
It's okay. It's okay.
Lord help me. And we're all still single.
Oh yeah. I mean, the last person I didn't even know. The last person I technically went out on I guess it was a date. I didn't really think it was a date. It was like someone I had recently met. She came by to like drink whiskey and just hang out. Like, drank some whiskey, had some cigars, and like, we're just talking, like, and she's like, I'm in a polyamorous thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, just hanging out. We were just on my, you've been to my place. We're on my balcony hanging out. And she's like, it's a little cold. Do you want to go back inside? Yeah, we go back inside. Like, we throw on some cartoons and start hanging out on my couch and like, starts getting comfortable. And then, we start messing around and like, I think everything's good. And then like, she's just been banished. Still follow each other on social media, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. They bounce, but they never, that's like the weirdest thing of dating at this point, because like that guy that was terrible at everything, like he ended up hitting me up and I wrote him and I was just like, I don't think that we are compatible sexually. And he wrote back, ouch. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I blatantly was just like, you were terrible. Like, maybe I should have worded it differently. I don't know, but that's what I texted him. But then like, we didn't even follow each other on social media, but like, I low-key saw him pop up in my stories very randomly for months. And I was like, do you know I can see this? Or like, I don't. And like, I mean, that's a weird thing. There's like people that I've gone on like one date with like a billion years ago, or like had sex with one time and was just like, this doesn't work or whatever, that like follow me. And it's like, I don't know, it's weird because like people don't, it's not like, oh, I'm never going to see this person again now. It's like, they're just always like kind of looming.
Oh yeah.
In social media.
I've seen whole articles about like our generation doesn't get a clean disconnect like, our parents' generation got when they broke up with someone. Like, you broke up with someone in our parents' generation, you never had to fucking see them again.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. And then it's like, they just, like, they're just popping up left and right, and you're like, oh, yep, okay.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I had an ex from Chicago who, like, when we broke up, I disconnected from everything from her. And this is like, well before I was doing public-facing stuff. And then 4 years later, she fucking found my Snapchat because it was still connected to the same phone number and like slid into my DMs on Snapchat.
Like,
And, you know, we ended up reconnecting for a while, but it was still like, oh my God, like.
Well, see, that's like me and my ex, like, we dated like 9 years ago. And then, like, when we broke up, it was like messy and all communication was cut off, like, blocked everything. I was blocked. He cut off all communication from me and blocked me from everything. And I was like, oh. And then, like, I don't know, a few years went by and I caught him stalking my fucking Instagram. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Well, I remember I was at my friend's house and I was like, oh my God. And I texted him and I was like, are you having fun? And he was like, oh shit. Can you see that I can see that? And I was like, yeah, that's how stories work.
Yeah.
And then we had sex that night. So, you know, there's
these things happen. These things happen, you know.
But it was like so funny because, like, without social media, I'd have probably never talked to him ever again. But oops. Dating during like a quarantine is like a whole thing in itself too. It's like,
oh yeah, no, it's an absolute mess. Like the person I was hooking up with before this was someone, like, from the jump I knew I should not have been involved with. It was just like, oh, pre-quarantine.
Those are always the funnest. And also,
pre-quarantine, we were hanging out at a bar, like, and she was drunk. She's like, oh, next time I'm single, I'm just showing up at your place to fuck you. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right
then.
I'll be here.
Noted. You know where I live. You're in the neighborhood. Yeah. And, you know, sometime during quarantine, we were just bullshitting. She's bitching about, like, the last dude she's with. I'm like, didn't you say next time you're single, you're going to show up to fuck me? She's like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, come on by then. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
And she did. So, I mean, at least me, I definitely have, like, women in my life where it's like, oh, I enjoy hanging out with you. Sex would probably be fun, but I definitely know I could not date you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. 100%.
Like, there are just some personality things that are just, if I was actually romantically involved with you, would drive me up just utterly fucking insane.
Yeah, because it comes down to, like, could you deal with this all the time?
Right. Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah. And then, in retrospect, like, shouldn't have even slept with her. Not that the sex is bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just, like,
yeah, but just ultimately.
Yeah, ultimately, just some of, like, her attitudes were like, oh, you sleep with fucking sex workers. Like, just go full on. I'm like, you fucking knew that before we.
Oh, no.
It's like,
the horophobia is real.
Yeah, the horophobia is real. And, like, you 100%, like, one of the first times we hung out was at a strip club event I was hosting. Like,
how are you going to go to those places and then be so horophobic? Like, that's always wild to me when, like, girls will, like, be like, oh, yeah, totally, I'm fine. And then, like, low-key, they're like, well, You're like, you don't get to, like, act like you support and then super not support all at the same time. It's not how that works.
Yeah, 100%. And on top of it, I fucking, afterwards, like, got a fucking STD test, you know, came back clean, and like, by the way, my results were clean after you talking shit about, you know, your horophobia. And she's like, well, that's good for you. I'm like, oh, sorry, I was trying to, like, put your mind at ease, because obviously I think that was your concern, that I was going to bring something on your doorstep.
Because I'm fucking so many dirty, dirty whores.
Right.
When porn stars are like some of the cleanest fucking people because they get tested so fucking often. And they have to be so on it with, like.
I've said this so many times on air. I've said this so many times to people, like, I am more of a risk to any performer I sleep with than they are to me.
Yeah.
I'm not getting 14-day tests.
Yeah.
Like,
we're all getting tested, like, if we're even being responsible, like, every, like, 6 months or some shit. Like, or oh, I'm dating someone new, I'll go get a test or something like that. Like porn stars are getting tested constantly over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, every 14 fucking days. So it was just like, oh man. And just adding the fact that like she just doesn't believe in tipping servers well. It's just like, oh, this was such a giant red flag.
Oh my God. Wow. I have a question. Am I allowed to pee?
Oh yeah, go pee.
Am I allowed to? Okay. You're like, no, you cannot.
You definitely don't need my permission to. Like,
I'll just pee on this blanket.
I mean,
Not allowed.
And Lily's back. Well, apparently Lily's chest tattoo is back. It's like jaw, chest, like.
Just my fuck the patriarchy shirt is back.
I'm sure the audience appreciates that.
Good. I sure do.
Hell yeah. No, but loving the time of the pandemic is a weird fucking thing.
So weird. So weird. Because it's like, okay, say you're like hooking up with someone, but you're not like serious with them, right? Normally you would wait like a certain amount of time to like then be like, oh, okay, like, are you having sex with other people? Or like, what's the deal? Whatever. But like, it's a pandemic. So like, are you fucking other people? Because like, I don't know how safe they're being if you're fucking them or who they're hanging out with. And then now it's like, I don't want to get COVID. Like, well, so it's like this weird thing of like, how do you be like, I know we haven't been seeing each other long, but like, are you fucking other people because I don't want to like die or like, I don't know. Like,
well, and it's not even like, are you fucking other people? Are you hanging out with other people? Period. Like,
are you even around other people? Like, right. You could literally just go meet someone, and it's like now everyone's at risk. Like, it's like such a weird thing to navigate through.
I honestly, like, if I was starting to see someone like on the regs at this point, I'd be like, are you hanging out with other people? I don't even actually give a fuck if you're fucking. Like, are you just hanging out with other people?
Do you have friends? Are you going to people's houses? What are you doing?
Right. Did you go out for New Year's Eve? You went out for New Year's Eve. We're done.
I never want to talk to you again.
Well, seeing as, according to what the LA Times posted yesterday, 1 in 5 tested people in Los Angeles have COVID now.
That is crazy.
Yeah, 1 in 5 tested people. Like that.
Yeah, and that's not counting people that are like asymptomatic and like just chilling.
Right, or yeah, it's nuts. Our hospitals are literally turning away ambulances.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Oh, the world we live.
For the foreseeable future.
I know. I love that like people were all talking about like, oh, 2021. I'm like, you don't think this is gonna still be a thing? Like you think all of a sudden we're gonna switch to a new year and this virus is gonna disappear? Especially because Americans are like, well, idiots. So it's gonna be here for a hot minute.
Yeah, it's gonna be here for. And especially when you have like you had a fucking pharmacist in Wisconsin who let 50 vials, which is enough doses for 500 people, go bad because he felt it wasn't safe. Yeah, like you have people like that out there. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't understand. I don't understand it.
I don't either. I don't either.
I posted something literally yesterday that was just like, I miss like events and parties and group hangouts and like whatever. And like I have a bigger following on Facebook than I do on Instagram. And there's also a way more, I think it's because the older generation is on Facebook. So there's just a lot of fucking idiots on Facebook that follow me. And, you know, people are like, well, then just go out anyway. And I'm like, no.
Healthy people are dying.
I'm trying to like risk killing people. I don't want to like go out and first of all, what events are happening? But second of all, if there were a bunch of events, no, I'm not trying to go to a bunch of events.
I mean, motherfuckers are going to like warehouse parties. Like I know someone who on New Year's Eve went to a fucking warehouse party and I'm just like, why? Why would you do that, dude? Why?
I had, oh my God, like in the middle of summer, like when the lockdown was pretty fresh. It was like early summer. I went to go, like, I put on a whole outfit because I felt like being all extra that day. And I went to go pick up like a tea. And I'm like standing in line outside. And these like young kids look over and they were like, hey, were you at the rave last night? And I was like, no. Like, rave last night? Where were you having a rave last night? And why were you at a rave last night? Like, I was like, no, I was not. And then I like stepped away from them. I was like, y'all were though, apparently. So I don't.
Yeah. Walk away from the super spreaders. Just do. And
they were like pretty young. I was like, oh, y'all are just. Also, where are your parents?
Probably at the rave.
Are your parents just like, yeah.
They're at the rave.
Fucking raving. I don't know.
Nothing bad can happen to us. I'm the protagonist of this story.
Let's just do some Molly. It'll be cool. Let's dance. Dance the COVID away.
Yeah, Molly protects you from COVID. It's cool.
I don't know how rave works. I just know everyone's like on drugs.
Yeah, not my scene. I
don't know. I feel like someone's getting mad at me for saying that. I feel like that's what a rave is. I feel like everyone's on drugs and dancing.
In the early 2000s, I once followed a girl I was into to a rave, and boy, do I regret it. It was not my.
I went to a rave one time, and it's because my friend literally tricked me into going, and I was so mad that she tricked me into going. She was like, "Oh, it's this like Day of the Dead party thing concert," and I was like, and I didn't know shit about raves. I dress like a raver for sure, but I don't know anything about raves. I don't want to go to a rave. I don't whatever. And so everyone assumes that I'm like some raver kid. I'm like, no, I'm a metalhead. I just like dress like one on accident. That wasn't like a plan. I dressed like a Spice Girl, and apparently Spice Girls look like ravers. So there you go. So yeah, she was like, oh yeah, so like, and you can wear kind of like you can like dress slutty, like it's like whatever. And I was like, sweet, okay. So like I'll wear like my skull bodysuit, my ass hanging out, like cool. And she's like, yeah, awesome. And then we're like on the way there. And I remember her saying something, and I was like, where are we going? And she was like, well, it's like a rave. And I was like, what? And it was kind of far, so I couldn't be like, turn this car around. I am not going. I was so mad at her. But then she was like interested in this guy who was working it. And they ended up dating for like years after that. But I don't know what he did for it, what kind of like job he was doing behind the scenes, but he ended up getting us free booze and getting us like on stage watching whoever the fuck we ended up watching. I have no idea. And I was like, okay, like I don't hate free drinks. And then I got drunk enough to where I was like, okay, I'll dance. Like, this isn't the worst ever. But yeah, other than that, like, no. I've like I like met this boy, and he like showed me some rave music that like yells. And I'm very into like breakdown metal. Like I want a lot of breakdowns. And so like I've always understood the similarity between like rave music. They're always just waiting for the breakdown. And like when I'm listening to a metal song, I'm like waiting for the breakdown. So I get it. But I also was always like, I don't want to listen to that shit music. And then this boy, and he started showing me like some rave songs where like they're literally screaming, and then there's a breakdown, and I'm like, okay, like I don't hate this specifically. So now I have like a few songs that I'll listen to, but I hate that I like them.
And that you just admitted to it on the internet.
I know, now everyone knows. I hate that I like it. Okay.
But I mean, there are definitely like,
but not like normal rave music.
What was that?
There are some that are like catchy.
Yeah, no, there definitely are some catchy, but like, I don't know, just the whole rave. I'm not a fan of dance clubs. I'm not a fan of nightclubs. So like the rave environment is just like that to an extreme.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to go to a nightclub. I want to go to a metal show and headbang and punch a guy in the face or something.
Yeah, and absolutely. Though
I want to get aggression out.
Exactly.
I'm an aggressive person.
I do thank her though I do absolutely thank her, because that taught me a very important life lesson, which is never endure music you hate in the name of, getting laid.
Oh God, no.
I think it's a lesson young dudes need to learn, though.
No, it's important. It's really important. No, I mean, I think at least, like, I mean, I've always been ridiculously honest, but like, I haven't always spoken up in situations where I was like uncomfortable or like whatever, like to appease the other person. But I think I've always been good at being like, what the fuck are you trying to make me listen to? I don't like it. Like, I have one customer throughout this quarantine. I have one customer that I know from back in Crazy Girl days. I've known him for like 8 years. And I give him lap dances like during this quarantine. And he was trying to make me listen to some fucking country music recently. And I was like, dude, no, I don't want to listen to this shit at all. And he's like, listen to the words. And I'm like, the words I'm sure are fucking fantastic, but I can listen to the same type of words where it's screaming at me. And I like those. Like, I can't do it. And he's like, no. And he like tries to sing it. And I'm like, no. Couldn't pay me enough money to listen to fucking this cowboy shit. Stop it.
In a weird way, that totally reminds me of a Bloodhound Gang song. Do you know which one I'm thinking of?
No.
The lap dance is always better when the stripper is crying.
You know what's ironic is I was actually like, me and him went to go get lunch the other day, and I was talking about how I met Sting at Crazy Girls back in the day, and he's like my everything. And I, like, everyone who knows me knows that I call him my husband. And I was talking about how when I met him, I played it really cool, but then he came up to, like, he went out of his way to come up to me to say goodbye to me before he left. And then he hugged me, and I started bawling my eyes out, and I could not control myself. And so I made a joke about how like I literally cried for a half an hour after he left. And so I was like, people came in and probably were like, why is this like fucking stripper crying over here? And I was like, but who knows? Maybe they came in and they were like, hey. That's what I'm into. Perfect.
Oh my God. If he could get that kind of emotional response out of you from just a hug, just think of how the tantric sex would be.
I know. First of all, I had a boyfriend at the time, and I remember like Sting came in, and I was like, and I like went up to him, and I was like, you're Sting. And he was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, you're a fucking liar. And he's like, started laughing. And I was like, I would just like love a picture with you at some point, if that's not weird. And he was like, yeah, in a little bit. And I was like, okay, cool. And I like walked out, and I went to that alley. Do you remember Crazy Girls? Like a little alley. So I went in the alley, and I called my boyfriend, and I was like, babe, Sting's here. And he was like, what? And I was like, Sting is here. Sting's here. And he was like, okay, we'll go talk to him. And I was like, no, I can't. You're like, I mean, I did, but I can't, because he's like, he's at the stage, and so there's a girl dancing, and that's rude. You can't do that. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I started crying, and he was like, get your shit together. Go inside. Hang out, Sting. And I was like, okay. And then like later, I was like, I just want you to know, if he would have asked me to come with him, I would have gone. And he was like, oh, I wouldn't have blamed you. In fact, I'd have been proud to like tell everyone that after the fact. Like, yeah, that's right. My girlfriend went off with Sting. I was like, oh, he's such a good boyfriend. He wasn't, but in that circumstance, good work, sir.
Right. If your woman gets the opportunity to have tantric sex with Sting, you let her.
Right.
And then you disappoint her for the rest of your relationship.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. Sting was just so incredible, and you're never gonna live up to that. Oh. No, Sting. You know what I thought was interesting though? Is like, so Sting came up and he's like, I'm so sorry, we have to leave. And I was like, okay. He was like, what was your name again? And he hugged me, and I started bawling, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so embarrassed. He was like, it's all right. And so he walks out with this huge crowd, and like, you know, SUV limos, like out front, and they all get in, and he gets in the passenger seat, and they drive away. And I was like, but also, why didn't you invite me? But also, like, why get in the passenger seat? You're like, I'm too good for my friends. I'm not sitting in the back of them. I sit in the front. I don't need to enjoy limos anymore. I've lived my life.
Right. This is so passe.
Yeah. He's better than that. He's better than a fucking limo.
Or maybe he's Sting's body double and he wasn't lying to you when you're like, you're Sting. He's like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
This is body double.
It was so funny because this was like right before he went on tour with Peter Gabriel, which I went to see, which was amazing. But, I follow him closely in life. And he had a beard at the time, which, as I've stated before, I love beards. I won't even date a guy if he doesn't have a beard. But Sting is one of the only men that doesn't have to have a beard. And I'm like, I still would fuck you 100%. But he had like a full beard and he never has a full beard. So he came in and I freaked out and I was like going around telling everyone that he was there. And everyone that was old enough to realize who he was like, oh shit. But I went up to the DJ and I was like, dude, Sting, he's right there. Sting. And he was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, which one? And I'm like, that one right there. And he's like, are you sure? And it's like across the room and it's obviously kind of dark. And he's like, are you sure that's Sting? And I'm like, really? I've been obsessed with Sting for as long as I can remember my entire life. You're going to fucking question me? That is Sting. And he's like, hold on. And he casually walked over and he looked and he came back and he's like, are you sure that's Sting? And I'm like, the one with the beard. And he's like, wait, hold on. And he went back and looked again and he came back and he's like, I don't know. And I go, Google Sting with a beard. I dare you. And he Googled it and he goes, holy shit, that's Sting. I was like, I know it is. I know what Sting with a beard looks like. Because that's my dream. He never has a beard. So happy when he does. Hello.
What could have been?
Can you imagine how my life would be different?
Well, I probably would have never met you, so...
If I had that moment with Sting.
Yeah, well, you'd be just off gallivanting with him and just be...
He would have left his wife immediately and married me. Right?
Right? Yeah, I would have never met you.
She ruins my life.
I would have never met you. We would not be having this moment right now.
We would not have met on a porn set.
That is correct.
Which porn set did we meet on?
We met Cindy, Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
We were party extras.
I so much love telling people, like, well, first of all, there's a porn star named Lilly Moon. And with one L, and it irks the shit out of me because I've literally had people write me and be like, you stole this porn star's name. And I'm like, she's like 19 years old. I've been known as Lilly Moon for 10 plus years. Like she was a child. She was a young child.
Yeah, she definitely should not have been in pornography at the point where you started using the name.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I stole her name? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, luckily we look nothing alike, but still somehow people confuse us.
I mean, you should definitely go trademark your stage name.
I should, right?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. I don't even know how to do it. I don't even know how to go about that.
I can walk you through it.
Oh, okay, help.
Yeah. Because I'm in the middle of doing some trademarks at the moment. Including I'm going to be trademarking my stage name because, unlike you, it's probably the only way I'm going to get check marks on social media.
That's like so weird. Okay, so like obviously Facebook owns Instagram, right?
Right.
I am verified on Instagram. I requested to be verified on Facebook and they were like, maybe try getting more followers first. Literally what they said to me. I'm like, I have almost 400,000 followers on Facebook. I have 80,000 followers on Instagram. When I got verified, I had maybe about 50. What?
Unfortunately, like, I've used the Instagram submission tool to, like, I would like a check mark, please. Obviously, I have nowhere near your follower count in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but I've seen people with not that many followers who are verified, too.
Well, yeah, and I am a public persona, I'd like to think.
You're like, I
am on things. I have IMDb credits, God damn it.
God damn it.
I've done stuff. I have award nominations. I need a blue fucking check mark.
Right?
And
God.
in all reality, I only really want the blue check mark to make booking easier for people I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because then they're like, okay, obviously you're legit. Your credentials are
right. Forget
real.
the hundreds of episodes of this show that exist, but
yeah, obviously. Don't look those up. Google's hard.
Right. Well, and on the Twitter front, I don't have at Matt Slayer because some dude who has posted one time in the last 4 years, who claims to be a streamer, has at Matt Slayer.
No, that happens all the time. I go by Lilly Blue Moon because somebody had Lilly Moon. But then when it comes down to it, like sometimes I'll do like an event or I'll be interviewed or something, and they're like Lilly Blue Moon, and I'm like, oh, it's just Lilly Moon. Like that's just like my name is Lilly Moon, and then that's just like my Instagram handle. But then that's how so many people know me now. So now I feel like when I do go elsewhere on the internet, it's like, okay, well, Lilly Blue Moon.
Well, I think you just got to do it as blue as your middle name. So it's Lilly Blue Moon, not Lilly Blue Moon.
Yeah. But like, if I ever change my hair color, then what?
Well, then it's...
don't get me wrong. Blue's my favorite color, but...
Then it's Lilly B Moon. That's why it's...
Moon?
Well, it's Lilly B period Moon. That's why it's your middle name. It's not one word Blue Moon.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
And then everyone's like, oh, Blue Moon beer. And I'm like, I don't even drink beer. I don't like beer. Beer's gross.
It's got its place. It serves its purposes.
I hate it. Give me hard alcohol or just honestly kill me. Whatever.
I would rather give you hard alcohol than kill you. There's a lot of headaches that come with killing you. Just, like, I don't got the time to deal with all that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, you're a tiny person, so disposing of you wouldn't be that difficult. But then, like, people will...
feed me to the pigs.
Yeah, but then I gotta, like, commit weird cannibalism when I eat the pigs.
Oh, how great of a thing is that?
That's actually a callback to a previous episode. Me and another guest literally were talking about that. Like, if the world goes full apocalypse, the only way to make cannibalism, like, palatable to humans is to feed humans to pigs to eat the pigs.
I love that idea. I want to do that. I'm going to try that. Thank you. Thanks for the idea.
Not it. Not it.
I murder someone, feed them to the pigs, and then eat the pigs. I need to get a whole system. I need to get a farm. I need to get pigs.
It's a whole to-do.
It's going to take a minute.
Also, not it. Okay.
Yeah, no, not you. Don't worry.
Yay.
I like you. Don't piss me off.
I don't plan on it.
Yeah, I don't even know what you could do to piss me off.
I'm sure I can figure out a way. I've done it to a lot of people.
Fair.
But back on the music raves thing, what was the last show you went to before the whole, like, world ended?
I'm pretty sure the last show I went to was A Mirror As I Lay Dying After the Burial.
Nice.
And it was so good. It was so good. So many breakdowns. Amir is one of my favorite bands. As They Lay Dying, I liked, but obviously the singer went to jail for like trying to hire someone to murder his wife.
Yeah, that whole thing, a little problematic.
That was like, ooh. And then
see, if you'd only had a pig farm.
I'm telling you. And then he, like, his band, I guess, I watched this little documentary that came out on YouTube about it, and his band was all like, whoa, fuck you, bro. No. And then he went to rehab and like, and he was like, proved himself and whatever, and came back and did this album, and I like heard the album, and I was like, ooh, it's so good. So when they announced that they were like, Amir As I Lay Dying After the Burial, I was like, oh my God. Amir is one of my favorite bands, but every time they go on tour, it's with bands that I either don't know, or when I hear them, I'm like, okay, right. Whatever. And so I always show up to see Amir, and that's, and so going to actually see a concert with Amir where I was like stoked on each band, and oh my God, it was so good. It was such a good show. guess it was a good show to end on for however fucking long.
Right. And even when shows do come back, they're going to be different.
They're going to be weird.
They are.
We're all going to be in bubbles or whatever. Have you seen that video where there was like a concert where everyone's in a bubble?
And
I watched it and immediately had anxiety because I was like, first of all, how are they all wedged in there? If someone has to pee or leave, how do they get out? Then you're just stuck in that bubble. And I immediately felt anxiety watching it. And I was like, I gotta turn this off.
I feel like a full-on Bubble Boy concert is only appropriate if you're seeing the Flaming Lips.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. But like, I mean, I get the idea of doing those concerts where it's like people like, it's like a little fence and it's like 5 people and then like a fence of 5 people and a fence of 5 people. Like, I mean, it's a bummer because you can't like crowd surf or like
be in the pit.
Yeah. But I'm also kind of a brat at this point. And it's like, I don't know, I've gotten so spoiled like at concerts that I'm just like, I don't want to stand in a crowd anyway.
Like, if I'm not
certain things that I will always crowd surf for and shit. Like Amir, I always want to crowd surf for. If I see Slipknot, just because of my like childhood, like I want to crowd surf for them. That was the first band I ever crowd surfed to and got injured to.
Slipknot's one of those bands like I could not imagine like hanging out in the wings for a Slipknot show. That's a show that you got to be in like the crowd for.
Yeah, that's the first metal band I heard that I was like,
I'm curious.
People equal shit, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I love this. Actually,
I'm curious because we were both in Chicago at the same time. Did you see Slipknot at the Rosemont Horizon with Gizmachi, Shadows Fall, and like?
I think so.
So we're both at that show.
What year was this?
Mid 2000s.
Well, probably then, I would imagine. Oh man, Shadows Fall. I always forget about them until I don't, and then when I don't, I'm like,
yeah,
those dreads. You know what I mean? Wild.
I want to say it was Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall, Gizmachi, Slipknot. Which I feel like I misquoted the lineup on that show on a previous episode recently, but
nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore.
True. But yeah, that was the first time I had seen Slipknot in an arena, because every other time I'd seen them was like outdoor venues.
Yeah, like the first time I saw them was Ozfest 2004.
Was that when they were headlining the Jaeger stage, the second Jaeger stage?
Second stage.
Yep.
Second stage, yeah.
Did you?
I crowd surfed for the first time ever, and I learned immediately that you don't want to crowd surf and not be facing the stage, because if you fall backwards, you'll fall straight on your fucking head.
You will.
And get a concussion.
Did you do that at Tinley, or were you up in Alpine? See, Alpine Valley was the better venue.
It's Tinley Park forever. I'm not calling it anything else.
Yeah, the New World Amphitheater. Come on.
Like the Sears Tower. It's a Sears Tower.
Right. But of the two amphitheaters in like Chicagoland, Alpine Valley is such a better venue.
I don't know if I know what that is even.
It's it's the outdoor amphitheater in Southeast Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah.
So
I think like Chicago is. I'm sure I've been there then.
Yeah, Alpine this is like completely Chicago-centric, South Wisconsin geographic. Like the difference between Tinley and Alpine is Alpine's like lawn area is so much bigger. Like it was a much bigger lawn. Huge lawn in Alpine. And also like the second stage was just like its whole fucking own area, not like on the concrete like it was at Tinley. But yeah, the downside for that is when Slipknot
that's how you get a concussion.
The downside on that though was Slipknot, the pit got so crazy, like the dirt got kicked up so bad, like I swear I'm still picking dirt out of my beard to this day. Like ugh. Like you had to wear a mask.
Yeah. Because I don't know if I legit got a concussion from that, but I feel like now as like an adult looking back on it, I'm like, I may have had a concussion for sure and like didn't know. Like I fell backwards, hit the concrete, blacked out for a second, And then obviously, like, this is what I love about metal shows. Like, immediately there was like a ring formed around me. I was picked up. Are you okay? There was a huge lump on my head. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you bring me back up? And he was like, you want to go up again? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And like, brought me back up. And then I was in so much pain all day, and I was so sleepy, and I was like falling asleep for like some of the bands. And so there was that. But then like towards the end of the night, the main stage, people were taking water bottles and filling them with dirt and then fucking launching them. And so I kept getting fucking hit with filled water bottles. And I was like, oh my God, this is...
The brain damage. The brain damage.
The amount of brain cells I lost that day have nothing on the amount of drinking I've done for the last...
Like, I can't do the math anymore because of the alcohol.
Yeah, I don't math. I can't. I don't... Oh, cheers. Okay, cool.
Oh man, I miss those old Ozfest lineups. Oh my God! But
man, the last time I went to Knotfest in like
San Bernardino.
Yeah, I think it was just the last one that was there, and Amir played.
It was the Knotfest versus Ozfest.
Yeah. Oh man, and Slipknot played Iowa in its entirety.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh my God, I was like a child. I was was so fucking excited. I might have cried. I don't know. I was just like, oh my God. Like, this is my whole like middle school, high school experience. I was so stoked. Holy shit. I was so happy. But it was funny because I was like backstage. This is I don't know if you ever saw this post where I stole Slayer's pizza out of their dressing room.
I did.
So that was there. I was like backstage, and I was like sitting. I brought my dog Floyd, wherever he is. He's an old man now. And I was like sitting. There was this little patch of grass backstage, and I was just sitting there. And I look over, and Slayer's dressing room was just like right there, and they were like kept coming in and out of it or whatever, and they all walked out, and I like could see in the door, and there was just like all these boxes of pizza, and I was like why, like why would you leave that unattended and with the door open? Obviously you wanted this pizza to be taken.
Obviously.
I walked in and I grabbed a slice, but then I saw like a couple of the guys from Slipknot like backstage and in this room or whatever, and they were just like, oh, like everything hurts. And I was like, oh, this is not my childhood. And then I watched them on stage, and they're all like pretty stiff, and I'm like, yeah. You guys, like, you really went for it when I was younger. Like, I get it. Everything hurts me now, and all I do is pole dance. Not that that's not like a thing, but like, I get it. I get it.
I sleep wrong. I wake up in pain.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was like, man, why would I spend thousands of dollars on a bed? And now I'm like, I totally get this.
No, I need that fucking bed.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning. This has been like a constant thing for me. When I sleep on my left side, which I'm less comfortable sleeping on. I don't know why. I'm less comfortable sleeping on my left side, but I don't wake up with like shoulder pain on my left side. I always go to my right side, but when I wake up, I have it hurts my shoulder to sleep on that side. And I always am like half alive in bed thinking about this. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense because I'm sleeping on each side the same. It's not like I'm sleeping on them different, at least not that I know of. Why does the left side not hurt, but the right side hurts, but the right side feels more comfortable overall? So I always end up turning my right side. And then I wake up in the morning and I go through this thing where I'm like, do I go to the left side? And that's not going to do anything. Like, go back to the right side. Should I move it up? Like, should I move it? Where do I move it so that it's not like...
It's one of those things where, like, we've been sleeping our whole fucking lives and, like, still not good at it.
We can't figure it out.
I regularly, because I'm a side sleeper, but I'll regularly wake up with, like, my hand under my head and like my whole arm asleep. Like, why am I propping my fat head up?
Oh my God. You wake up and you're like, oh no. Oh no.
And this happens a couple times a week. I'm like, do I need a better pillow? Like, what the fuck?
I want to get a pregnancy pillow. I've been saying this, but I'm really going to do it. Have you heard of have you seen these?
No, I haven't never been pregnant.
I was pregnant and I still didn't know what a fucking pregnancy pillow is until recently. It's a super long pillow and then it's like U-shaped though. So it's like all the way around, super long. And so you you can cuddle the one side and also use it as a pillow and lay on it. And then the back side is like up against you. And so you're cuddling it while it's cuddling you. And it just seems like it's the most perfect thing in the fucking world. And I need one. I
think I need one too.
Also,
and ladies, don't judge me if you show up at my place with it.
They're like, why do you have a pregnancy pillow? It's comfortable.
Shut up. I'm not getting you pregnant. Don't worry.
So you're a side sleeper. What side do you sleep on?
I shift.
Okay.
I shift a lot.
I sleep like a dead person.
I used to, and like I think I need to drop the money on a new bed and pillows because like I used to sleep like the fucking dead, and now it's just like I don't know if it's like the old person in me, like, oh no, you're up now, or it's just like, oh hey, now you don't have feeling in your arm, you're awake.
Yeah.
And I always have this dreadful fucking fear of like, you know what happened to Dave Mustaine at one point where like he just woke up one day and he like had nerve damage in his arm after he woke up from sleeping and like had to teach himself how to play guitar.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That happened to Dave Mustaine? Oh my God.
And I always have this fear of like, I'm just going to wake up one day and like, one of my arms is just not going to work. I'm like, but I need both of those.
Okay, first of all, you didn't help my anxiety because every time I wake up with numbness from like sleeping on something, I'm like, oh no, this is useless now, even though I know that this has happened to me my whole life. And now I'm really going to fear that. That's crazy to me. I sleep like a dead person. So I have a weighted blanket. And then on top of that, I like to cuddle a pillow. So literally, I will have my weighted blanket on me. And then underneath that, I have a pillow. And then I literally like do this to the pillow and like hold it. So I'm literally like a vampire with my arms and I just cuddle it and just sleep on my back. And then sometimes I'll actually like tuck my hands under my butt and I'll sleep like that.
That's an interesting one.
Well, because I'll go to stretch and I'll like stretch and then they'll be under my butt, and then I'll just like leave them, and I'm like,
Well, you are also notorious. Like, I want to be cuddled. That is, you're notorious for that.
I love cuddling. You know what's funny is like I'm not a person that can like. Okay, even this morning I woke up. I accidentally left my phone volume on, which I rarely do, but I accidentally left it on, and then I ended up having to pee, but I woke up from my phone going off from like an Instagram notification. And then I was like, you know what? I'm up and I have to pee now. And then I went to pee, and then I'm just an anxious person and I overthink everything. So immediately I get into bed and I'm like, okay, you're going to go back to sleep because it's so early. And then I just started like thinking about all these things. And I was like, oh no, life is terrible. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. So I made Alexa turn on some calming music. And I fell back asleep, but like, that's usually so hard for me to do. Or like, I'm not a person that takes naps. I can't just take naps. I don't understand how that works. I've accidentally fallen into a nap because I'm like casually on the couch watching TV. And then I like slip into it. And I'm like, oh, what did it happen? But like people who are like, you know what? I'm going to go take a nap. I'm like, what do you mean you're just going to go choose to sleep? That sounds great. I don't know what that's like. But if I'm like with a dude that I like and we're like snuggling and like I can pass out pretty quickly if it's like this safe
blanket.
But yeah, I don't know what that's about.
One of them love language things, I guess. I don't know.
Probably. I have like a thing, like especially if I have anxiety. Oh my God. Just like bear hug me in a cuddly fucking I don't know, whatever. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just like, I'm like, because I think at that point, I'm like, even if I die, I'm being cuddled. This is fine. I don't care anymore. And then like, I mean,
At
that's
least
the whole
someone will have
anxiety.
found my body real easy.
Everything's fine now. Fuck it.
Right? Don't have to end up like Lane Stanley. Oh, rest in peace, Lane. Recently rewatched Alice in Chains Unplugged.
How was that?
It's good. It's still really fucking good.
Yeah, it does. I don't think it gets worse. That's for sure.
Well, but the thing about it is that aired in 96. In 96, like, I was not into Alice in Chains at all.
I wasn't either.
Like,
that took me a while.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, like, in 96, it was like, oh, no. I am going further and further into death metal at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
that's happened to me before too. Like, before I even moved out here, I had a friend. I don't even talk to him anymore, but I had a friend, and he was As I Lay Dying's manager, and at the time I didn't listen to As I Lay Dying at all. And then when I came out here to visit before I moved out here, just to like kind of, I was like, I've been out here a million times with my family. I've never been out here alone and just kind of explored alone and hung out with friends and not stayed at the fucking Beverly Hilton or like some shit, like I've been to these very specific places and I haven't actually seen LA for what LA is. And I came out for 3 weeks and I stayed with a friend, and I ended up at this buddy's house that managed them, and he had a bunch of their documentaries, and I was like, I don't really listen to them, but like, yeah, I'll take a documentary. Fuck it. Like, why not? It's free. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I ended up watching it, and I was just like, sometimes I don't have to be interested in the artist to like really be into the documentary. I like to see like what their life is like versus what their like. I just watched Ariana Grande's thing on Netflix, which I was a little disappointed in because it was way more of a concert than it was her behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, that sucks.
But I wanted to see the behind the scenes stuff. I'm like, and I watched Taylor Swift's. I really liked Taylor Swift's thing and seeing like her life versus just her music and shit. So I watched their whole documentary and I was like so intrigued by it, and I still have it. And then I ended up getting into them like fucking 8-9 years later. Like, so I don't know. It was like a weird thing where you like, I don't know.
Well, as you mature, tastes change, and like, yeah. And the cool thing about like people like Ariana Grande is, from what I understand, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah. My ex like works with her. He's an engineer at a recording studio, and he like has worked with her a lot. Okay. Can you not eat plastic? Thank you. That'd be great.
A buddy of mine used to be part of her security detail, and so she was.
Really?
Yeah, she was real cool.
She's got those fucking ponytail extensions. I just bought my first ponytail extension. I can't wait for it to show up on the website. Because I'm literally going to make a post and be like, you like my hair? Gee, thanks. Just bought it.
How long of an extension did you go?
I got the stop eating the plastic. God damn it. My cat is so annoying. The highest available on this person's website, which I've been following her for a while. She makes like really cool rainbow wigs and shit. And it says 26 inches.
Wow.
And like my hair is pretty long as it is. But yeah, I definitely like got a measuring tape thing and like was like, okay, like 26 inches from here is going to be like where? And I originally was going to dye it to just my hair. I was like, I just want the same thing as my hair. I like my hair. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like you should just take advantage of the fact that it's not your hair and you can like do something different. And for a while I had yellow tips and I really, really liked it, but there was just no way to keep it yellow with blue at the top. And then like, well, I had pink I had blue, pink, and then yellow. And I can try to clean it the best of my ability every time, but it kept becoming like a dingy orange. And it was much of a bummer. So I turned it red. So I was like, you know what? I should take advantage of the situation. I have a ton of yellow still. So I'm going to dye it like, I think I'm going to do blue, pink, yellow. And just like.
Are you ever worried about repping two gang colors at the same time?
No, well, I mean, I lived in Koreatown and I was like real close with a gang for a minute. So there's that.
Oh, I've never heard this story.
You haven't? I've
No.
never told you about this?
No.
I feel like I shouldn't talk about this. I lived in Koreatown and I lived 1 block away from Olympic Boulevard. And my neighborhood was like MS-13. And I didn't know who they were at the time. And then I looked them up and was like, holy shit, is that like an intense gang? And they had a nickname for me and everything. Like I remember one of the dudes, he would like randomly talk to me all the time. And he was like, never disrespectful or anything. Just like, he would be like, oh, hey girl. And I'd be like, oh, hey, like whatever. And then I remember there was like a shooting. I was blonde at the time and I had moved. Well, there were multiple shootings, but like I was blonde. There was like a shooting and I remember like the one dude that I recognized that would say hi to me all the time. I like went up to him and I was like, hey, do you know anything about that shooting? And he was like, I can't really talk about it. And I was like, okay, well, I live here. So, I just want to make sure that I'm safe because I live here. So if people are like shooting people, that's like a thing. And he goes, oh, no. Don't you worry because nothing will ever happen to you. And I was like, well, I don't think bullets have names, so like, you don't really know that because like if I just happen to be like walking past, like, like, and he was like, no, that's not how it works. And he's like, you're not involved, so nothing will happen to you. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you just stay in your castle because I lived on the 4th floor. He was like, you just stay in your castle. And he's like, what's that princess up in the castle? And I was like, Rapunzel? And he was like, yeah. You just stay in your castle, Rapunzel. Nothing will happen to you. And I was like, okay. And then, I don't know, I feel like a couple of days went by, maybe not even. And I was like walking down the street and I heard from like a block away, like, what's up, Rapunzel? And I was like, and I looked and there was some guy that I've never seen in my fucking life. And I was like, hey. And then from then on, I got called Rapunzel all the time from people I did not know, but I immediately felt okay when these people talked to me. And I worked at Crazy Girls at the time. So I would get off work and come home at like 3-something in the morning and park. And usually, because Koreatown, I had to park like kind of far from my apartment. And if I didn't see somebody from this gang, then I felt uncomfortable. And if I did see somebody, they just like, what's up? And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, we're good. But if I was like walking alone and didn't see anyone, then I felt weird. And so for the longest time, I like felt very protected by this gang. So that was like a thing.
Well, it makes sense. Like, you live in the neighborhood. Like, you're there.
Well, yeah, and LA is very like it's interesting because in Chicago, it's a whole different thing. Like, like I never lived in it, but I know that like in Chicago, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in gang territory, like they don't give a shit. They'll fucking kill you. Like if they want to kill you kind of thing. A lot of times.
I mean,
brother like lived kind of in a bad area for a while. And it was like, it's more sketchy.
The Chicago sketchy, I think it's much of the same. Like if people think you're there because of gang-related shit, they may fuck with you.
Yeah. But more often than not, if you're not involved, they don't want to fuck with you.
Well, yeah, they don't want to deal with the headaches of what, doing something to you potentially brings.
Yeah.
And all my years in Chicago, going into some fairly sketchy neighborhoods at times, the only time I ever got fucked with was in Little Village in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I had someone call me a long-haired faggot. And I just ignored the dude and kept walking.
Yeah.
And it was no big deal. And then the police rolled me and asked me why I was in the neighborhood.
Just hanging out.
Like, I'm literally meeting a friend who lives in the neighborhood for coffee. They're like, are you an artist? You got spray cans on you?
Really? That's what they were concerned about? Oh, are you going to paint something?
Right. Like what's
your biggest fear?
What's this white boy doing in Little Village?
Yeah.
For the non-Chicago listeners, Little Village is a primarily Hispanic neighborhood in Chicago. Especially at that point. It definitely stuck out like a sore fucking thumb. But yeah, I had more problems with the police than anywhere else.
It's more like if you live in this neighborhood, we take care of you. And if you're not a part of this neighborhood, then like, who the fuck are you? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so there's one person, because like they weren't like on social media or like have phones really much or anything either. But there was one dude for a while that would like randomly text me and just be like, how are you, after I moved out of the neighborhood? But I haven't even talked to him in forever. But like, it was funny too, because I started getting into street art, and that's like a huge thing. Like, you can't just go around tagging anything, even if you're just like a random artist. Like, they're like, who the fuck do you think you are? You don't get to like do that. And this whole gang was just like, yeah, you can tag your shit wherever. Like, you're a part of us. You're a part of this neighborhood. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, you guys are kind of wild. And the one dude was like, no. And I was like, no, I don't know. I've read some shit. You guys are kind of wild. And he's like, no, man. I'm like, we're good people. I was like, okay, you say so. Sure. Yeah. But I've still driven by, like, I haven't driven by in a long time, but I've driven by and been like, oh, my moon's still there. Like, still riding. I kind of want to like go by and just like get out of my car and see if I see anyone I know and be like, hey.
How long ago was that?
I mean, I've been out here for 10 years, so I guess 5 years ago, because I lived in Koreatown for 5 years. Oh, I'm so old.
I know. And then you've lived in like 100 other places since then.
I know last time we did this, I was staying at my friend's house in Fontana, and you kept calling it Arizona.
Yeah, you were essentially living in Arizona. And now that you're back in civilization, I'm sure you agree with me.
I agreed with you then. It was just like, I'm not paying rent right now. Like, my friend has a big house really far from LA, and he's like, yeah, you can like hang out in one of the rooms, like go for it. I'm like, oh, no rent, cool. And then I was like, I don't give a shit. I will pay $2,000 a month to not fucking be this far from LA.
Well, you were fucking staying in hotels and shit in town half the time and only commuting out there like half the time. So I'm sure you really
Well, yeah, but I mean, at least customers were paying for that. Like, I wouldn't.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like, I'd have a customer be like, let me pay for you to stay at the W Hotel so you don't have to like drive. And I was like, I mean, okay.
Okay, if you insist.
Yeah.
You sure? You sure?
Well, no, you're just gonna handle it from your phone, and then I'm gonna invite the guy that I'm dating to come stay with me at the W while you're on mine.
On your dime? Okay.
Can I get room service? Thanks.
Right, I'm hungry. All this dancing, builds up an appetite.
It's rough.
It's a hard knock life.
So rough.
So fucking rough.
Oh no.
But thankfully you're back in civilization.
Oh my God. Yeah, for 2 years now.
Well, it's been over 2 years since you've done the show, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived in Glendale for a minute, and now I live somewhere else. I'm not going to mention right now.
Yeah, don't dox yourself on the goddamn internet.
Nope.
You can stalk Lilly here. Yeah. Well, let's not do that.
Just come search, whatever.
All right, No, guys, she actually still lives in Fontana. Go check out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked living in Glendale. I don't know, me and a roommate lived there for a minute, and it was cool, but I ultimately didn't want to live in the valley. And so I went and it was just a good deal, and it was a luxury apartment. And so it's you get the pool and the hot tub and the free coffee, hot chocolate machine and the business lounge and the fitness center. And I'd ever go there. and all this shit. And so I was just like, and it was like, oh, we have a deal right now, no deposit if you move in right now. And we were like, no deposit, cool, yeah, fuck it, like let's move in. And I was like, I don't know, I want to be in LA. And that was like my main goal. It's like I want to live in LA. I don't want to be in the Valley.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Los Angeles in my address is like such an important thing for me. Like, what a stupid, petty thing to be obsessed with. But like,
don't live in Van Nuys. Just to be like, I still live in LA. Like, cool.
No. I hate when people are like, I live in LA, and then they like say some far ass place like that. I'm like, don't. No, you do not. No, you do not. Don't say that.
But they technically do. But they technically do.
No. When I first moved out here, I had friends who lived, like a couple friends, they all shared a house in Van Nuys. And I was so poor, and I had an SUV that just like was old as shit and guzzled gas like crazy. And I lived in Koreatown, and they're like, oh, we're having a party at our place, blah, 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 Van Nuys. And I was like, I'm like looking it up on Google. I'm like, I have to drive where? I was like, no, that's so far. I don't want to go there. Get gas. That's going to cost. Ew, that's not LA.
But it is this town. I just found out, I don't know if you heard about this, but like the 101 coffee shop shut down, which is a LA fucking landmark. I've
honestly only been there once.
And you know where I live, it's my neighborhood diner.
Yeah.
It's honestly the first place I ate at when I moved to LA. Like before I moved to LA. It's like the first place I ever ate at in LA because I had friends living at the Hollywood Towers. Like when I'd come in to visit. So many, a lot of iconic things have been fucking filmed there. Like half of Swingers was filmed there.
Yeah. Which is funny because like the place I golf at is like the place that they go in Swingers.
Oh yeah. Actually, like being in the neighborhood and like watching Swingers now, it's like I know where that is, and 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 that is.
That's one of my favorite things when I watch things, is just being like, I go there all the time. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, this is me being a giant dork, but when I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was pointing out discrepancies in some of the travel.
Yeah. They do that shit all the time, though. They, like, show themselves somewhere, and then they're like, we're here. And you're like,
Well, but the thing about it is, like,
no.
Especially with Once Upon a Time, where it was supposed to be a love letter to, like, fucking Hollywood, where, especially... Cliff picks up Pussycat. He says he's on Burbank Boulevard, and she's trying to go to Chatsworth. And then they get on the 101 northbound at Hollywood Boulevard. Like, it's the entrance for Hollywood Boulevard. It's like,
no,
really, like I can see that from my window. I can see that from my window.
It's not it.
Nope, not it. Not it.
Ain't it.
It's just absolute silliness. But, the rest of the country has no fucking idea.
Yeah. Or they'll be like, this takes place in Pennsylvania. And then, like, they show themselves at, like, some place. And you're like, that's right here.
Yeah. Like, I know exactly where that is. That is definitely still L.A.
Not Pennsylvania, but okay. And then they show, like, in between scenes, they, like, in the beginning of a scene, they, like, pan in on, like, the Pennsylvania city. And you're like, oh, okay, so you're in Pennsylvania, I guess, or whatever.
But at least with stuff like that, I can suspend disbelief a little bit. When you're like, oh, I am shooting where I am actually shooting, and then I'm still going to get...
We're in LA, but we're here, and then we're over there. And
we're still going to get geography wrong. It's like, makes no sense. Just fix the dialogue a little, or...
Yeah, how hard is that? To just be like, oh, yeah, that would take 20 minutes in real life. Because it would.
But people...
Okay, I have to pee again. I'm drinking. You did this.
Oh, I did this.
It's the title of your show, and so I had to, and then...
Yeah.
You did this.
I did this.
It's your fault. I'm back. I made it back.
Woo! Did you have a good pee?
It was so good.
Awesome.
Ugh, wow.
Now that you're back, and we're going to stop talking about LA geography, because I'm sure that's super entertaining to most of the world.
Oh, everyone loves it.
Everyone loves it. I mean, that's why they have Saturday Night Live sketches about it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's so true.
Oh my God.
What show are you looking forward to when we can go back to fucking real world?
What show?
Yeah, what show? Like, what show, what band do you want to fucking see when you're like, I can go to fucking shows again?
I don't know, because like I just feel like I have like extra aggression that I need to get out now. So I feel like it would, like the last show I went to, like Amir Anzali dying after the burial, would be like such a good show. I feel like that would be such a good show to like enter in on. I will say I was supposed to see In This Moment. They were supposed to be on tour in like April.
We saw them together, didn't we?
Probably. I think
down,
so.
Down in fucking Anaheim?
Yeah. Yeah. I love them. They're such good people. And like, she's just like constantly like evolving. And a lot of people don't like that about her because they want a band to be consistent and stay the same. But I love that it's like this, because I like metal and alternative music, and I like a lot of different aspects of music. So like the fact that like her first album is like breakdown heavy, and then her second album was very like, well, I will, when she came out with her second album, I was like, oh, it's like very singy and like mostly singy, and I was kind of thrown off and a little upset at first, but now looking back on it, like I really like it. Her third album was so like Pantera inspired, and then like she's just done this, like she's just done a little everything because she was trying to figure out what she wanted to do, and well, like
that's the balancing
like
act.
All of them.
That's the balancing act musicians definitely have to do, is like you don't want to go too wildly depart from what you started off as, because people will abandon you. They'll be like, what the fuck, this isn't a whatever band album. But you also don't want to be AC/DC where every fucking album sounds the goddamn same.
Yeah.
Not to say that AC/DC isn't very commercially successful, but...
Oh, but they're so... Yeah, no. I remember talking to my mom, and she was like, I hate them. And I was like, why? And she's like, they sound the same. And I was like, that's fair. It's funny, though, within this moment, like, I mean, they got popular fast, so I get that, like, she hadn't quite figured out what she was doing yet before she got popular, and then was like still trying to figure it out. And that's fine because I love them. But when I found out who they were and they were like, they just weren't as popular, I loved them for what they were. And then they did this, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, oh, that's not what okay. Yeah. But like, that's cool. And then like the Pantera inspired album, I was like, oh yeah. Like, but just following them, I feel like at this point I'm so invested, like they can't do wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where even in situations where they've come out with an album and like I hear the first song they come out with, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought it was gonna be. And then I listened to it 7 more times, and then I'm like, man, I fucking love this song. Like it just grows on me, and then I'm just like, yeah, this is the best song ever. So I just love them. I just feel like ultimately, no matter what they do, even if it has to grow on me for a minute, I'm gonna love it.
Hell yeah. And it's weird that like music is like really the only art form where the artist is expected to fucking keep some sort of status quo.
Yeah.
Like, you could be a film director and make fucking wildly different movies. That's fine.
But if you don't sound exactly the same, I remember I had an ex that like, when we met, I don't know, it was like one of the earlier albums. And then another album came out, and he was like, it's totally different. Like, they shouldn't do that. It's not cool. I don't like it. And I was like, well, why not though? Why can't they do? Why not? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they can do whatever they want to. They can have different styles. I mean, we like listening to different styles of music, so why can't they make different styles of music? Like, doesn't that make sense? You have to have one genre if you're a band.
Because it's branded as this genre. It's branded.
Yeah, you can't be a creative person and just want to make different types of things. Like, This doesn't make any sense.
And sometimes it does backfire. Look, I'm a Machine Head fan. There are some Machine Head albums I'm not into.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've definitely had bands where I'm like, what the fuck did you do? So I guess it's a gamble, but also be true to yourself at the end of the day, because
it's your art.
Yeah, it's either going to go sour or it's not. But you can't control that either way. You could keep doing what you're doing, and then people will be like, this isn't good. It's not the same. So might as well just be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Because not everyone can pull off AC/DC and sound exactly the same for 50 years. And
I've got big balls. You've got big balls.
We've got the biggest balls of them all.
Of them all. Like, that was a song. That was a real song.
Yeah.
So, if they can do it. I saw a TikTok recently where the guy's like, it's like the recording company talking to, and he's like, okay, what do you got for me? Like, what's your band name going to be called? And he's like, okay, hear me out. Bare Naked Ladies. And he's like, how are we going to sell that? And he's like, what? And he's like, okay, all right, well, we can get past that. Like, tell me about, your songs and stuff. And he's like, hear me out. We're going to like talk. What was it? I don't know. It was like one of their songs where they're just saying some like ridiculous shit. And he's like, I don't know what to do with that. I'm like, I have to look it up because I don't remember. It was ridiculous. I can't. Now I've been drinking whiskey, so I don't know what you want.
Oh, no, not whiskey. Anything but whiskey.
I know.
Well, and music's just a weird art form in comparison to other art forms, because how movie stars and TV actors or directors or writers or anything like can't get away with like the theatrics of music or the pseudonyms or, Marilyn Manson can be Marilyn Manson, but Brian Warner couldn't, if he was just an actor, could not have that career as, Marilyn Manson.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. So, okay, I looked it up. So they're like, oh, Bare Naked Ladies is their name. And he's like, I don't know where we're going to sell that, but like, okay, like talk about your hits. And he's like, okay, we're going to be like Chicken of China, the Chinese chicken.
Have a drumstick and yeah.
How are we going to fucking sell that? And then like the TikTok ends, it's just like that. And you're like, dude, if somebody tried to do that today, they'd be like,
they'd cancel them.
Nope, absolutely not. No, you are not going to do that.
Oh, music is such an interesting place. I mean, like just the business of it, the creation of it.
It's so interesting. I want to create music all the time, but I don't have a lot of knowledge in those types of programs and shit. So I don't really know where to start. I've written lyrics before, and I feel like I'm decent at that. And I dabble in piano, and I dabble in bass, and I dabble in guitar. But when it comes down to like making my own thing, I just don't really know where to start. And like I said before, like my one ex who I've like been cool with for, on and off since we dated a million years ago, works at a recording studio. And so I'm like, things like, but like, I still ultimately don't know where to start. And my dad even has been like, you're a good singer and like, you're good with music. Like you should do shit. And I'm like,
find other people to collaborate with that know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. I like, one of our, he was like a mixture of like securities, whatever, at Jumbo's. He's really good with music. And we actually talked for a minute about collaborating, and I don't know. We just never talked about it after that. But I feel
what are you doing right now? I'm sure he's not at Jumbo's at the door.
No. Well, that's the thing. We talked about it a couple months ago. Like we're in the middle of quarantine, and it was like, oh yeah, like we should do something. And then like we just didn't talk about it after that. And like in my head, it kind of pops up all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I need to do that. And then my laziness is like, yeah, you'll get to it. And it's like,
Because that's the beautiful part about doing this in the modern age. You can record your vocals at home and send the
yeah,
file. And
you don't really have to like go anywhere or do much of anything to like do things
yeah, I
like
know.
this, like setting this up. Oh, do you have time on this day to be at your home?
Right? Pants are
Yeah,
optional. Like,
yeah.
you know.
And I put on a whole outfit. You
Well, I
know,
appreciate it.
I did work.
I appreciate
I
it.
did work. You
I
can't see it.
I super didn't.
I have shorts on. It doesn't matter.
Right? I have gym shorts on too. Like, I was trying to straighten my beard out when we
Both
first
put
got.
shorts on.
Right? I mean, I put shorts on for me, not for you.
I know. I put shorts on for me too. I was like, I'm gonna leave the house and maybe go get like a tea, and then I didn't. I still might. Who knows?
I don't know.
You know, we have the rest of the day. I don't know. I have no idea.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've talked about this a bunch on here. Like, I honestly have more like disposable time than I have had in years. And a lot of people tell me that I am much more productive than most people they know. And I just don't feel like I'm getting enough done.
See, I feel like I did like a Q&A on Instagram the other day, and I feel like I do so much, and at the same time I don't fucking do anything. Like my job, like part of my job is social media because that's where I'm making my money because of my website and my Etsy and my OnlyFans and all that. So social media is my job, and when I'm not at Jumbo's right now, that is like my full-time job. It's just like being on the internet. But most people are on the internet half the time anyway. So it's hard for me to feel like I'm working a lot when I am kind of working a lot. And then, I mean, I even constantly make this joke where I'm like, oh, yeah, well, like, I just did this today. Like, oh, hard work. When in reality, when I think about it, I'm like, no, I'm kind of working a lot. Like I am. I'm constantly like posting and responding to things and doing this and doing that. And like that is like, that's how I make my money. But also I feel like at the same time, I have so much free time because I decide whenever I'm going to do these things. But my dad is like, I mean, when I think about it, it's like my dad's the same. My dad owns his own entire construction company and he does very well for himself. But also he can be like, you know what, I'm going to do this today instead of working because I have it set up but like he's still answering his phone and he's doing things, but he has a whole fucking business and he's like doing work. So like, I constantly feel like I'm not doing anything when really I'm doing a lot of things. I think I like minimize what I'm doing a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is also because it's not structured time. It's not like even with Jumbo's that, you could pretty much.
Now I'm at work right now. Right. I
have to be at Jumbo's from 4 to 8. I have to be there.
And I can't leave that because this is the time that I'm being told that I have to be here from somebody else. So I'm doing work.
Right. I think it's the lack of structure, especially for us Midwesterners. That is just like, oh, I'm not working. I'm like, oh, no. I made a video today. I'm doing a podcast. I'm editing another video. If I have I made a ridiculous joke shirt for a friend of mine that I just sent for him. I will show it. I can't put it on the episode because it may not arrive at his house by the time it's done, but I'll show you when we're off air. I photoshopped that yesterday. I do, it's just one of those things where I have to realize that no, I'm working all the time. It's just not structured.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like work because you're doing it on your own time and it's more laxed than.
Oh yeah. I meant to
do this.
I meant to start editing right after breakfast this morning, and I dicked around on YouTube watching videos for an hour and a half.
Yeah. I'll have orders on Etsy and I'll be like, I got to do this today. And then the whole day will go by and it'll be 9, 10 p.m. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. No, but I have to do those. And then I'll go do them. But I'm also more creative at night because it's just who I am. But yeah, it's just such like a thing where like, I mean, I started like talking to a new guy, and I explained to him on our first date. I was just like, oh, sex worker life, and then like we call non-sex workers civilians, and we call non-sex worker jobs like vanilla jobs. And he unfortunately had to work the next day after our date, and we were like up to like 2:30 in the morning, like hanging out. And I got a text at like 6:30 in the morning of him with like a middle finger, and he's like, oh, just going to my civilian job. And I was like, which I thought was really cool, because he's mentioned it a couple times since, where like, I don't know, he's very good at listening. It's a wild concept for me, but like, he's like mentioned like my civilian work and like my vanilla. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, must be nice. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to lie. Waking up whenever I want to is nice. But then also you get off work at a very set time, and then you're done. And I am working always. Every time I open Instagram, I'm technically working.
Well, and on top of it, you have steady income, bro.
That is very true. Like, I just blatantly was like, how much do you make a year? Because I had openly talked about my income. And then I was like, how much do you make? How much do you make a year? And like, it was like, oh, this much. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty decent. But like, mine's very...
And not guaranteed in any way, shape, or form.
I live comfortably, and I have lived comfortably. And luckily during the pandemic, I've been doing okay. But overall, I could have a really bad fucking month. I mean, especially in dancing world, it's like, I've learned that if you have a really fucking extra good work a week, you best save that money, because normally the next week after that, for some reason, is real bad. Like, I feel like it always evens out to where you're not making too much money. Like, it's always just like good enough.
Right. And
so if I do extra good, I'm like, let's save this extra money.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, things like Instagram and OnlyFans could change their rules on the fly. You could be making fucking baller money this month, and then all of a sudden, OnlyFans like, this isn't allowed.
We hate sex workers now.
Yep. Yep. We hate sex workers now, and you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah. Now what? Cool.
Right. Where the guy
especially considering like Instagram's new rules.
Right.
And they were talking. What was it? Pornhub that like kicked a bunch of people off, and then like Visa was like, oh, no more with that. And it's like, oh, okay, so is OnlyFans going to do that next, where they're
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but you just never know. You just never know, especially in this industry. You just never know who's going to shit on you next or fuck you over next. And you always have to be on your toes. And honestly, it's funny because we're mostly the stigmatized, looked down upon group, but we're also the group that consistently has to evolve to live. Yeah. And we're constantly figuring out new ways to work around society hating us on a constant basis. But like, yeah, we're super stupid and blah, 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 whatever.
Well, and like in all walks of life, there are some people that are stupid. There's also some people that are wickedly sharp, like every other fucking career.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to meet people and be like, how did you get into this high CEO position? You're the dumbest person I've ever met. And then you're going to meet their secretary who's the smartest person ever.
Right.
Or like,
who's probably actually just propping them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's, ugh. Because don't get me wrong, I've met strippers where I'm like, wow, you're real dumb. And then I've met strippers that are like, you're a fucking biologist? Like, dang, bitch, you're a smart hoe. Like, fuck. Like,
yeah,
we're just normal. We're just normal people. It's
right.
Wild.
And
wild concept.
Also, biology doesn't pay super well. A friend of mine is married to a PhD in biology, and he makes more selling cell phones than she does.
Yeah.
Like, all that education, and
Yeah. But like, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. So you can be in debt for most of your life. Go to college.
Yeah, a friend of mine just literally posted something. He's like, I graduated college 10 years ago with a $48,000 student loan. I owe $54,000 on it now, and I have somehow paid 45% of it off. Cool.
I don't like that.
No one should like that.
I can't even imagine. I'm so glad I didn't go to college. Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't go to a day of it. And I have other friends who went to like for-profit art colleges where like their student loan debt is like fucking a decent mortgage. And they're not even working in their field that they went to this for-profit art school for.
Well, and that's the thing. 90% of the time, are you working in the field that you went to college for?
No. Well, it's like that friend went to school for video editing. I work a lot more as an editor than he does.
Yeah.
Like, never went to a day of college for it. Like, what the fuck, man? Unfortunately, like, our parents' generation was instructed, like, you had to go to college, you had to buy a home, and you had to pump out 2.5 children. Like, that's what you did in life.
Yeah.
You got a state job.
Yeah, that was what you do. But at the time, also, you'll be able to afford to have an entire family and take care of them, and none of them have to work. And blah, blah,
right,
blah.
like you could, work a summer job and actually pay your tuition. No. America, fuck yeah.
Lick my butt and suck on my balls.
But Lily, it is actually about the time we're going to call last call on this motherfucker. We've been going for like 2.5 hours.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Fly by when you're having fun.
You've had to pee multiple times. You've been there for a minute.
I have. You have. It's been fun. Where can they find you on all the things? You can fully promote your OnlyFans and all that shit here because we're not Instagram.
Okay, well, what is my OnlyFans? Lilly Blue Moon, I think. If you just like, if you just like Google Lilly Moon OnlyFans, I think that pops up. Lilly Blue Moon on most things, or Lilly Moon, but like Lilly, because as stated previously, there is a porn star, Lilly Moon. She looks nothing like me, but like, go check out her shit too. Why not?
Go trademark your name and take her off that shit.
But yeah, I'm the one with blue hair. She is no tattoos, no colorful hair. So it's pretty easy to tell.
Boring.
I agree. But yeah, Lilly Blue Moon, Lilly Moon. Pretty much on everything. 2 L's. Don't fuck it up.
Hell yeah. We're not going to wait another 2-something years to do this again. So we'll have you on again sooner than later.
I love that.
Hell yeah. It's always fun.
Now, can I ask you something real quick? Our first one was not on video, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't
because I somehow in my mind I thought it was, and then I was looking for it on video, and then I found the YouTube video, and I was like, "Why is it not on video?" And then I was like, "I don't think we filmed it."
No.
I don't know why I thought we did. I don't think we did.
No, I didn't start filming them till almost a year later. Like February of 19 was when I first started putting out the video versions.
Oh, so now.
Well, shit. That means we're coming up on almost 3 years since you've been on.
Oh, really? 3 years? Oh.
Yeah, because this will be episode 190 something, and you were on episode 53.
So old.
Yeah, I know. Me too. But we're going to really get you out of here. As always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook, twitch.tv/Matt F. Slayer. You can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. Look for us on the YouTube at /And Now We Drink. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Now we drink.